Welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the main card fights for UFC on ESPN Reyes versus Weidman. So without further ado, let's get to our first fight on the main card. So in our first fight, we have in the middleweight division, Winn versus Stewart. So this fight is an interesting style matchup in a way. Winn is a relatively new MMA fighter, doesn't have the most experience, still developing in a lot of ways, has a very weird frame, kind of like the height of a featherweight, with the width of like a heavyweight. So he kind of stuck in the middleweight division, can't really get any lower. So pretty much he's stuck in the light heavyweight division or middleweight division, giving him a whole lot of range, whole lot of reach, and a very weird frame in this in general. You got Stewart, a lot of power, dangerous fighter, can knock any man out if he lands on him. Dangerous elbows, just a very explosive, dangerous type of dude right there. So in this fight, you got like Winn, who I think in his advantage in this fight will be his wrestling. In his last fight, he showed, I forget the guy's name before, but the guy he fought was a grappler, and that grappler was able to have success against him in the clinch and on the feet. And Winn did look good on the feet. He was striking very well, but in the clinch and, in some strikes, he didn't look very good in some positions. Like I said, he's still a very new guy. Now he's going against Stewart, who I think can definitely do much better than that guy did on the feet, because Darren Stewart is a striker, and he pretty much, I think, stopped that same fighter in the first round. So power certainly on Darren Stewart's side, striking on Darren Stewart's side. Yes, I think Winn can strike with Darren Stewart, but does he want to get in the clinch with Darren Stewart, or does he want to trade punches? I think he should avoid at all costs. But I think the bright side, or the light beam, or whatever you want to say, our path to victory that very open to Darren Winn is wrestling, because Darren Stewart has been, I think, out-grappled and taken down by much less grapplers, much less wrestlers than Darren Winn. I'm not saying Darren Winn is this solid grappler, but he's at least was at one point a world-class level wrestler. I don't think it's that long ago that he was that. So like, a year ago or 2 years ago. So he's still very fresh, especially compared to other high-level wrestlers in MMA. So he's actually very fresh to that competition compared to a lot of other people. I think Darren Winn can take him down, not at ease, but I think he can certainly find a good path to victory where he can take him down, and with relative success, maybe a 40% clip on his takedown attempts on Darren Stewart, which is pretty high at this level. So I think he could do that against Darren Stewart. I definitely don't want him to be out there getting striking or getting caught in the clinch, because the opportunity is very open for Darren Stewart. I can very well see that happening, but I'm going to lean to the fact that Darren Stewart already has history of losing fights, getting taken down, or getting out-grappled, or being outworked. And I think Darren Stewart is not Darren Stewart, but Darren Winn is a workhorse. He is a high-level wrestler, and he has both those things on his side. He's a pressure fighter, he's a wrestler, and he's going to be able to push a high pace and keep it and maintain it. I think he'll get it on the inside, secure takedowns, and probably win like a gritty, grindy decision, taking him down, maybe avoiding some big shots, drawing some power of his own to get in on the inside, get on these shots, take him down. And like I said, just lay on him, land some ground and pound, and win maybe not the most impressive decision, but a decision he'll need to get on and, could keep on developing in his career. So in this fight, I have Darren Winn via decision. Now on to our next fight, we have in the women's flyweight division, Barber versus Jillian Robertson. So it's a pretty good good matchup in the women's division, the women's flyweight division. I think Jillian Robertson is a solid fighter. She has very slick on the ground, pretty decent striking. I think she might be a little bit more pretty on the ground, a little more technical on the ground than Barber is. But I feel like Barber is this. Matter of fact, I think she might be a little bit better than Barber, but is Barber showing the last fight? Even you're more technical than her or looking more clean than her, she's just real, she may not look it, but she's very physical, very strong, and very big for the weight class. Even though it might not look like it, she actually is. I think in these positions, like on the ground, even though Robertson is so technical on the ground, I think Barber can, I'm not saying Barber is no slouch on the ground. I just think that Robertson's a little bit cleaner in these areas, but I think Barber, her physical abilities going to overshine the little advantage that Robertson has in the technical advantages in some of these areas, and probably kind of be able to muscle around on the ground if it goes to the ground, secure the top position, land some ground and pound, and, rough her up. Then on the feet, Robertson might be a little bit faster here and there, but I think Barber's actually a little bit more technical. Matter of fact, Barber's, I think, much better striking than Robertson. I don't think it's that significant, like she's going to wash her on the feet as far as technique alone. But I think with her physical attributes, her youth and all that stuff, combined with her striking advantage, I think she can make it look like a much bigger gap. Maybe not beating her to the punch, but when her punches do land, they'll be felt more. And I think in this fight, really, I think Barber beats her on the feet, beats her on the ground, and beats her everywhere. And I think she actually stops her late in the third. So in this fight, I got Barber via third round TKO. Now on to our next fight we have in the lightweight division, Joe Lauzon versus Jonathan Pearce. So Joe Lauzon, long-time UFC fighter, long-time MMA fighter, a staple of the UFC, versus Jonathan Pearce, a relatively, well, not even relatively new. This is his debut in the UFC. And I'm not even going to try to, dance around this fight and just get to the point. I think Joe Lauzon should have beat this guy. If Joe Lauzon was like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, he should have beat this guy easily. But given how Joe Lauzon is now, I just think this young fighter beats him. This 27-year-old beats the 35-year-old Joe Lauzon. Because I think the last fight, I forget the guy he fought. I had it in my head, but he pretty much got made to look like a punching bag by a guy that's not even that good of a striker. And you're at that point, we're getting looking that bad. I don't know. I can't really have any faith in Joe Lauzon. And then even before then, I think he fought this other guy. I'm forgetting the name of that guy as well. I think Joe Lauzon looked good to start and was taking him down, looked like he was going to get a finish. And then the moment he didn't get the finish, the rest of the rounds, he looked like a punching bag. So Joe Lauzon, I don't know what's lost him. Maybe the damage is catching up to him. Maybe the age is catching up to him. Or maybe something else is catching up to him. But Joe Lauzon is just not the same Joe Lauzon, in my opinion, right now. He definitely has opportunities because Jonathan Pearce is... I'm not saying not saying Pearce is not good or not bad. He's an all right fighter. That's what Pearce is. He's an all right fighter. He has some good attributes, some maybe on the lower end, and maybe can have ability to develop. He still has, room to develop. Being a 27-year-old fresh face in the UFC, he has room to develop. But he does have some glaring holes that hasn't shown any improvement in. Like when he throws strikes, he kind of stands there and be open for hooks. Like he just throws punches, then will get it in the habit of looking. It's not, actively defending at your shots or actively moving after you throw your shot. Like he throws shots, and, be in the same place. So you could eat a shot and then throw a punch. Matter of fact, you don't have to eat a shot. You could just maybe hit a miss and just stand in the same place and hit him. Like you don't have to even do nothing extra to hit him because he's not moving. He's standing in the same place. He could do all this flashy stuff or, jumping knees and this and that and overhands and try to do a spinning back. But at the end of the day, he still be standing right there. So basically I'm saying he's open for counters all day. And really, it doesn't even have to be a counter. He's just standing. You just got to throw at him. And his face is open the whole time. And he got a solid chin, but I think Joe Lauzon should be able to catch him right there. And then you look at his record. I think in 2017, he was submitted twice. I think Pearce has never fought a grappler as good as Lauzon. But I'm just saying at this point, Lauzon's been made to look like a punching bag by fighters that were far from phenomenal. So I think a young fighter like Pearce, I'm going to favor his youth and development over Joe Lauzon's, past accolades and what he's done at this point. Age catches up to everybody, and I think it's caught up to Lauzon. So I'm just going to think Pearce is going to Lauzon probably look good for a little bit in the first round, and then Pearce is going to take it away and probably make Joe Lauzon look like a punching bag, and I think he stops him late. So in this fight, I got Jonathan, I'm going to say late in the second. So in this fight, I got Jonathan Pearce via second round TKO. Now to our next fight we have in the heavyweight division, Greg Hardy versus Ben Sosoli. So looking at this fight, you got Greg Hardy. A lot of people don't like him. A lot of people don't really care. But he's been winning. You got Ben Sosoli. I don't think he has the most experience. But all I'm going to say is the best chance he has is I think he's like a bootleg Mark Hunt. Not the kickboxing background, but are poor, even worse takedown defense, even worse grappling. But he does have the kind of confidence on his feet. Does have some little bit of a good read for distance and being able to land accurately. And that's about it. I'm not saying he's this and that, but he at least gives him the chance that maybe he could put the power on Greg Hardy and land it accurately, which can, shake up the fight. It is a heavyweight fight, so to be able to be calm and land big strikes on the money, it certainly gives him a good chance. Or at least better than some of these people that kind of came out there rushing Greg Hardy or came there running away from Greg Hardy. I think this guy at least is not going to be scared of Greg Hardy or caught up in the whole, this guy's a woman beater, I got to punish him type thing. He's going to go out there and fight, and that's going to give him a better chance than those other guys. But all that being said, I don't think that's enough. I think Greg Hardy is much bigger than him, much faster than him, much more athletic than him. I think even if the guy catches Greg Hardy in feet, I think Greg Hardy could probably take him down because the guy's takedown defense is so garbage. I think Greg Hardy could take him down and probably beat him on the ground as well. But Ben Sosoli does got a shot with that confidence and it's been in the heavyweight division and that power and that accuracy. But I feel like Greg Hardy just beats him out of the way. And I think Greg Hardy stops him in the second round. So in this fight, I got Greg Hardy via second round TKO. Now to our co-main event we have in the featherweight division. A rematch of sorts, Yair Rodriguez versus Jeremy Stephens. Really, it's a redo. And I'm going to be quick to this prediction right here because I already predicted it when it was supposed to happen. Now it's happening again. But basically, Jeremy Stephens, he has developed some, but he's still pretty much kind of in the same fight. He's a better version of himself, and that version of himself, better version of himself, still has never shown an ability to beat a mobile fighter. He can beat fighters that will come for him and will bang with him, or either just beat her to be hit. But a fighter that's going to be sticking and moving and fighting on when, like, choosing when to engage and not just engaging when every time he acts to engage. He loses to these fighters 100% of the time based on his record, or at least in the UFC, 100% of the times. Yair Rodriguez is more mobile, probably one of the fastest fighters he's ever fought. Already hard to predict, very unorthodox, wide variety of arsenal. So it's like, on top of being mobile, he just does so much. And I think grappling-wise, Jeremy Stephens' wrestling never been nothing of note. His jiu-jitsu never been nothing of note. So is he going to take him down? I don't really think so. And I think, matter of fact, Yair Rodriguez's speed and athleticism probably will allow him to get on some shots, and he might be able to control Stephens on the ground for that matter. So I don't know if I'm saying he's going to go out there and wrestle Jeremy Stephens to a decision or nothing. I'm saying there's an opportunity for him to take him down, maybe land some ground and pound, get some points off grappling. I think he's a better grappler than Stephens, better striker, faster, longer, more mobile, all those things. And Jeremy Stephens, he will have a chance if, he can maybe doubles up on some strikes, maybe set some stuff up instead of just loading up. Maybe if he can chew the legs up, I doubt it, because like Yair Rodriguez is moving so much, and probably you try and kick him in the leg, he probably kick you in the head. He's just that much faster than Stephens. So really, I just think Yair Rodriguez is too fast, too mobile, too unorthodox, too skilled, and Stephens gonna be punching the air a lot. And I think eventually Yair Rodriguez starts to set him up, gets his timing, and catches him and drops him and finishes him off. And I think that happens in the third round. So in this fight, I have Yair Rodriguez via third round TKO. Now to our main event, we have in the light heavyweight division, Dominic Reyes versus Chris Weidman. So Chris Weidman is coming up to the light heavyweight division, the former middleweight champion. Dominic Reyes he is one of the hottest prospects in the light heavyweight division. And this is a chance for him to kind of have one of these impressive performances after coming off kind of a lackluster, controversial decision over Volkan Oezdemir. So this is a big chance for both of them. Chris Weidman's trying to, reinvigorate his career, or start over a new leaf in his career, or, start up a new momentum, or regain momentum in his career, add that spark back. So, but that's besides the point. How do these fighters match up? Chris Weidman, never really been the most impressive striker. I think the best thing about Chris Weidman, or maybe what made him kind of good on the feet, was that, one, he's so much big. Matter of fact, he's been bigger than every one of his opponents except Rocco. So he's been bigger than all of his opponents except Rocco. So he was probably either bigger and or longer than his opponents. And he had a good judge of range. And then also on top of that, he had a good chin. So if he did mess up the range a little bit at one time, he could eat a punch and, go back to doing what he's doing, pressuring, controlling that range and that distance, landing his shots and not allowing his opponents to really land shots, and then also mixing in takedowns. But I feel like Chris Weidman kind of got away from what made him good in a way. I think maybe after a couple of losses, I don't know what happened to him. He tried to reinvent stuff, or maybe he tried to add new wrinkles and lost his other stuff, because he doesn't implement wrestling as much as he used to. That was one of his biggest factors. So people were so scared of his takedowns, so scared of his wrestling, that they kind of backed up from him. They didn't really press him. They were going back, which allowed his takedowns to be more effective, which allowed his striking to be more effective. Then eventually, at some point, people stopped really being scared of his wrestling, and that took off a lot of his edge. And then also on top of that, he'd been knocked out a couple times, so people don't feel, this guy's chin he's Superman. I can just touch the guy's chin and knock him out. So he lost a lot of that. Just like when Anderson Silva lost, anybody else lost, it kind of had the same effect with him. When he lost, or you start seeing him get knocked out, that fear of his wrestling, that fear, don't have the same respect they used to have for him. They still respect him, but it's not the same. I think the only person he wrestled real well in his past 4 or 5 years was Gaslam, who's a bloated welterweight. A blown up welterweight at lightweight. A little short dude with short legs, short skinny legs, and a big upper body. So of course you should dominate him. Matter of fact, Kevin Gaslam got dominated in grappling by Neil Magny, so that says a lot. But now coming to weight, he will have a chance, because Reyes' takedown defense isn't the best, even though he's a wrestler. But then, on that same note, Reyes, sometimes these wrestlers, their wrestling they be so confident in their wrestling, they don't care to give up takedowns because they spring right back up. And it's not like anyone has did anything to Reyes on the ground. But Weidman will have a shot. But that being said, I feel like Weidman, these shots he'll have won't really be that good, because Reyes is much bigger than anyone he's ever fought. 6'4", 6'3", and built. I think he's a much better striker. And Reyes also has a good shot at, judge of range. And I think he has more power in his punches. He has more speed, even though Weidman will be coming up. I think he has more arsenal on the feet. And as he knows how to use it, Weidman has an arsenal, but really not much of it is good. He has something that he does well. He does a bunch of other stuff that really has no effect. With Reyes, everything he does is effective. Might not be the most, but everything he has more tools that he's effective with. I think that straight is going to be a good shot in this against Weidman, who doesn't really block his face that well. Probably try to come in and get it wrestling. That's probably his approach: pressure, cover the distance, get him for a takedown. He's gonna walk right into that straight a lot of times, and his chin's not gonna be what it is, what it was, or what it was supposed to be or perceived to be. So he can call a lot with that. In wrestling, I think he will be the better wrestler, but will he be able to overcome that size, especially over a 5-round fight? A younger, fresher fighter, undefeated, I believe. I don't really think so. I think, like I said, coming up this way, he's not gonna have that size advantage that was so good to him at middleweight. And he's not really gaining anything by coming up. Maybe he'll put on more muscle, put on this, but all it's gonna do is make him slower and more open to shots. So I really just see like Weidman pressuring, maybe looking a little bit all right at first, but then eventually that's just gonna be all Reyes circling him into that straight, and eventually start tagging Weidman. I don't think Weidman's gonna be able to take that power too long. If it's not one shot, it's probably gonna be about 5 of those landing on the chin at most, and then Weidman's gonna be buzzed or put out. And I think if he stops Weidman relatively quick in the fight, I think it's probably gonna be early on in the second. So in this fight, I got Dominic Reyes via second round TKO. And that concludes my fight predictions for the main card of UFC on ESPN, Reyes versus Weidman. And as always, thanks for watching.